The P40 Pro features a quad curve overflow display with curved glass at all four edges. There are still very thin bezels at the top and bottom. The 6.58-inch screen on the Huawei P40 Pro has a resolution of 1200 by 2640. Huawei has increased the refresh rate of the screen to 90 Hz, which is faster than the 60 Hz of its previous phones, but not quite as fast as competing handsets like the S20 and Oppo Find X2 Pro that offer a 120 Hz display. The Huawei P40 Pro is powered by the same Kirin 9905G chipset that we have seen in the Mate 30 Pro 5G and Huawei's folding phone, the Mate XS. This is based on 7nm manufacturing technology and is plenty fast enough to keep up with the latest flagship phones. The processor is teamed up with 8GB of RAM and also currently the only high-end chipset with integrated 5G, meaning it will work well with the dedicated 5G networks of the future as well as with the current hybrid LTE/5G networks. If there's one thing that has made Huawei's P-series phones stand out from the crowd, it's the camera tech. The P20 and P30 handsets raised the bar when it came to the mobile photography, and Huawei is looking to raise it higher again with the P40 Pro. On the rear section, the Leica branded camera setup composed of a 50MP primary and 40MP ultra-wide cameras and a 12MP telephoto camera that's capable of 5x optical zoom or 50x digital zoom. There's also a time of flight sensor for creating bokeh effect in portrait mode shots. With the P40 series, Huawei is debuting its XD Fusion engine, which uses AI to optimize your photos. Huawei was one of the first manufacturers to get on board with AI, and the results on the P40 Pro are impressive. The phone can remove friends from a picture and even reflections that appear when you are trying to photograph anything that's behind a glass. The P40 Pro also features impressive zooming capabilities, and Huawei isn't shy talking about that. Low-light photography has been a strong point for Huawei, and the P40 Pro doesn't disappoint on that front. The P40 Pro's rear camera layout is capable of shooting Ultra HD 4K video at up to 60 frames per second, as well as super slow motion at up to an eye-watering 7680 fps. Both modes are available on the ultra-wide and wide cameras. Up front is a 32MP selfie shooter backed up by laser-guided autofocus. The 32MP selfie shooter is able to capture lots of detail and color in almost all lighting conditions. The Huawei P40 Pro is equipped with a 4200 mAh battery, which should last you a full day of moderate to heavy uses. It supports 40W fast wired charging as well as wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. Huawei Nova 7 Pro 5G smartphone was launched in 24th April 2020. Huawei Nova 7 Pro 5G comes with 6.57 inches Full HD Plus OLED screen. It has a punch-hole front camera design. It is powered by a 2.4 GHz octa-core high-silicon Kirin 985 processor. It comes with 8GB of RAM. As the name suggests, there is a 5G modem inside this phone. As for the cameras, the Huawei Nova 7 Pro 5G sports a quad camera setup with a 64MP main lens, an 8MP ultra-wide camera followed by an 8MP telephoto lens that supports up to 5x optical zoom and a 2MP macro shooter. Pictures are great when taken in daytime, color reproduction is good, dynamic range is not bad if you consider the price. You can record 4K video, and Huawei added another cool feature which is super slow-mo video capture. You can record 720p super slow-mo video at 960 fps. Over at the front, there is a dual punch-hole module with a 32MP primary and an 8MP 105° field of view ultra-wide angle shooter. Pictures are good with the front camera and delivers enough depth of field. The Huawei Nova 7 Pro 5G runs EMUI 10.1 based on Android 10 and packs 128GB or 256GB of inbuilt storage. It was launched in midnight black, silver, forest green and midsummer purple and honey red colors. It is powered by a 4000 mAh battery with 40W fast charging support. Huawei Mate 30 Pro 5G smartphone will be launched in October 2019. The phone comes with a 6.53-inch OLED touchscreen display with an aspect ratio of 18.5:9. It is powered by an octa-core high-silicon Kirin 990 7nm processor. It comes with 8GB of RAM. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Huawei Mate 30 Pro 5G on the rear packs quad camera setup consisting of a 40MP main shooter and a 8MP telephoto lens and a 40MP ultra-wide lens along with a 3D time-of-flight camera. There are two cameras on the front for selfies, one is 32 megapixel and another is 3D time of flight sensor. This device is based on EMUI 10 on top of Android 10 and packs 256 GB of inbuilt storage. It is powered by a 4500 mAh battery with 40 watt fast battery charging and 27 watt wireless charging support. It was launched in black, space silver, cosmic purple, emerald green, orange and forest green colors. The Honor 30 Pro is a powerful, future-proof smartphone at a very attractive price. The 6.57-inch screen is an OLED panel and it gets very bright with excellent viewing angles. Color reproduction is great and viewing experience is super smooth. Let's start with the processor. Powering the Honor 30 Pro is the Kirin 9905G chipset. This is Huawei's best chipset right now, with benchmarks putting it ahead of the Snapdragon 855 Plus. The Kirin 9905G is a 7nm chip with built-in dual-mode 5G support. It comes with 8GB of RAM. There are two storage variants, 128 or 256 GB. The Honor 30 Pro has quad rear camera setup. The main camera here is 40 megapixel wide lens. It also has a 8 megapixel periscope lens which support 5x optical zoom, a 10x hybrid zoom and a 50x digital zoom. It is equipped with optical image stabilization for better control while snapping photos. Plus it uses artificial intelligence to keep the image in the viewfinder steady when really zoomed in. In addition to this, it also has a 16 megapixel ultra-wide lens and 2 megapixel depth sensor. In terms of camera performance, expect industry-best low-light performance via the HUAWEI sensor, although images can be occasionally appear overly processed and cool. The Honor 30 Pro's camera keeps up with the Apple's best in still photography. When it comes to video, the 30 Pro still falls short of the iPhone in terms of fluidity and stabilization. It can record 4K video at 60 fps and 1080p super slow-mo video at 1920 fps. In general, photos are great with amazing color and dynamic range. Wide-angle images are sharper and closer to standard shots from the main camera than other phones, megapixel and the other is 8 megapixel. You can also record 4K video with the front camera. You can expect to capture great selfies with this device with the help of different built-in camera modes. As for the battery, it is powered by a 4000 mAh battery with 40 watt fast charging and 5 watt reverse charging. The Honor 20 Pro doesn't look particularly different from any standard Android phone. The Honor 20 Pro looks, feels and runs like a premium smartphone, but without the polish or the hype, and most importantly without the price tag. It's a sleek and powerful mid-range smartphone. The phone has 6.26-inch screen and uses LCD Full HD Plus tech. This phone has an impressive 91.6% screen-to-body ratio. The power button and fingerprint sensor are one and the same. This phone has 4000 mAh battery and could easily last for a day. It supports 22.5 watt fast charging. The Honor 20 Pro's camera setup is one of its biggest selling points. This phone has 4 cameras. The 4 cameras are as follows: a 48 megapixel 1.4 aperture main snapper with optical image stabilization, a 16 megapixel sensor with a wide-angle lens, an 8 megapixel sensor with a telephoto lens and OIS, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. On the front, there is a 32 megapixel selfie camera which generally take high quality pictures. Like most Honor devices, the 20 Pro also comes with Magic UI 2.1 on top of the Android 9.0 Pie OS. This phone has Kirin 980 chipset and 8GB of RAM. There is a 256GB of internal storage also.